Hey YouTube, it is League Turnover Day. In this video, we're going to go over the top Great League teams. I've got 6 teams that have worked in the past like month. However, the meta will be changing to a little bit with the introduction of Clodsire. It is a community Pokemon that's coming out. So it is the Wooper Husian version or different version of Wooper or Quagsire, Clodsire. So it will shake up the meta a little bit. Not as much as it could have because it could have been super meta shaking, but they decided to nerf it before it came in. So it is a poison ground, poison sting, sludge bomb, earthquake. It has, as you're gonna see right here, if you've watched my videos before, I always say like when you're in the 2000 2100 overall stat product range, you're doing pretty good in Great League. This is a 2352, very very defensive heavy Pokemon, huge stamina. So it's gonna 95 attack is not amazing, obviously, but it's just clearly a defensive Pokemon. Very tanky. And then Poison Sting, Earthquake, Sludge Bomb. Nice combo there. Like Poison Sting charges pretty fast. Earthquake, Sludge Bomb, good hard hitting moves. And then Poison Ground. So the poison being able to resist like counter on Medicham is one of the main things there. It has an overall 16. Let's actually optimize IVs here, just to make sure that we have the best stat product here, because that's what people will be hunting. So it has a 19 and 22 record with the maximum stat product. So being poison, you're obviously going to have a huge issue with ground type Pokemon, right? Because your poison moves will be resisted, and then you're taking super effective from ground type moves. So a lot of ground type Pokemon here, right off the bat, are your main losses. You are also half ground, so you are weak to being half ground. Makes you weak to water. It makes you weak to, well, it actually neutralizes the poison, and the poison in the ground will neutralize grass, so you're neutral to grass. So a lot of these Pokemon that you're losing to is just because you don't really have anything to throw at them. You can throw the Earthquake, but again, you're just taking super effective for most of these moves. So there's where a lot of your losses comes on. Where do some of the wins come on? Medicham's a close one because they land a Psychic. It is super effective. Where are your wins, right? So Lantern, if they're running Spark, you will resist the Spark because of the ground. Medicham, if it does not have Psychic, because Psychic is super effective, but Ice Punch and Power Punch obviously not going to do much on a poison. And then as you get into the thing, anything that's sort of weak to, anything that can resist moves, just basically poison and ground resistance. So Registeel is one of your biggest win because Zap Cannon and Focus Blast are both resisted. Carbink is a nice one because you resist the Rock Throw and the Rock Slide, so they can only throw a Moonblast. A Sandslash, I think you're just probably going to out bulk here, or probably just out bulk, be able to land an Earthquake to do super effective. So it's got some good wins. Not as meta breaking as it could be, but will be pretty strong. So just keep that in mind. I will bring I will do a Beyond the Hype version. So what usually happens is other content creators will throw this out right away and hype it up, being like, click, you gotta watch this in action. And then a day or two later, I will give you a realistic viewpoint of it. So I'll use it maybe Sunday night and showcase it on Monday. So if you want to see it Monday, Beyond the Hype, how it really works and its strengths and weaknesses, hit that subscribe button. But let us look at some top teams that I've used in the past little bit here. So if you're new to this channel, I've hit Legend this season for the 15th straight season. So these are some of the teams I used to help me get there. This one was a double flyer, double water team. Swampert, Gligar, Pelipper. So you have Swampert, which can be weak to grass. So you have 2 flyers. I both take neutral to grass because half ground, half water, but you have basically 2 answers for grass with your flyers. Pelipper is going to have problems with like Lantern, which Swampert can deal with that, and Gligar actually does not bad because it hit super effective with Dig. So it was a double flyer, double water team. It worked very well. You obviously have Swampert and stuff like that will deal with the steals and stuff like that, and then obviously your grass cover is with the flyers. This is one I used Carbink. So you can use another flyer. I use Gligar a lot. So for the I was in the Toronto Regional Championships and I made it to the finals, winners finals, Group A. Gligar is I think one of the most disappointing on my team. I used it a bunch, and that's the thing. There's a difference between read like a show six pick three versus GBL. I think GBL Gligar is still pretty safe in general, so that's why it was on a lot of teams in the past. But you don't need to use Gligar. You can use other flyers here. But basically, Carbink is weak to. You're gonna have again problems with the poison if this new Pokemon is out there a lot. You're gonna have problems with that. You're gonna have problems with steals. So I used a and you're gonna have problems with grass. So that's why I used a ground flyer because you can deal with the grass and you can deal with the steals as a combo. And then Sableye as a safe swap. Sableye is still a great safe swap in this meta, just because there's actually not a ton. You think there'd be more fairies because there's not a lot of steals right now, but there's not a ton of fairies running around right now. Deoxys, Dragonite, Lickitung. So this one was highlighting Shadow Dragonite, which is kind of sneaky if you have Shield. That's why it's built with two bulky Pokemon, Lickitung, Defense Deoxys. So two bulky Pokemon, Defense Deoxys on the lead. You can Psycho Boost and Bail, or you can Thunderbolt, depending on the matchup. Lickitung is a pretty good safe swap. And then Dragonite, again, a nice answer if you can get it on like a counter user or something like that, because it was just the counters, and then has superpowers for steals. But again, this is one of those Pokemon where you need shields. So if you're going to use Dragonite, Shadow Dragonite that in the Great League, have it built with two bulky Pokemon where you're basically not using your shields on those bulky Pokemon if you can, and then having Shadow Dragonite just with shield advantage kind of roam free in the back. Frostlass, Umbreon, Registeel. So this is an ABB style team-ish. I mean, you're both weak to fighting in the backs, and Frostlass will beat most of the fighters. So that's sort of the thought process behind it. But basically, it's like Frostlass on the lead. Both back Pokemon can kind of deal both decent safe swaps. The only sort of problem that I'm seeing with this team, and I don't know if I mentioned it in the video at the time, is that Carbink is going to be tough because Carbink walls Umbreon and is going to do super effective against Frostlass. So if you don't want to do this exact team, maybe change Frostlass into something else that doesn't take super effective from Carbink. Something that still beats fighters. So maybe some sort of, again, the problem is the only flyer that beats Carbink is a Gligar. It doesn't have to be a flyer to beat a fighter. You can put like poisons and something like that, like stuff that resists the counter in the lead there. And then I really like Umbreon. Is still very, very bulky in this, obviously very bulky and just super strong as a safe swap. Registeel, I'm less sold on Registeel. And again, with this new Pokemon coming out that is a poison ground, poison resisting the Focus Blast, ground resisting the Zap Cannon, it's almost like they didn't need to nerf Lock On. They just need to kind of take away flyers, add in a Gligar with better move Dig, add in this new poison Pokemon. So Registeel continues to move down the list, in my opinion. It's definitely not anywhere near as strong as it once was. It's still fine as a safe swap, but just know that there's a lot more things that can wall it than in the past. Speaking about, there's no fairies now. A9 Tails. I think A9 Tails. This team is, I used two teams here. One with Powder Snow, Swampert. So the Swampert A9 core with Powder Snow is just the easiest core, one of the oldest, and then Medi is a safe swap. And the second team, if you're gonna use Charm Ninetales, you add on top of the steel problem. I mean, you're gonna have a steel problem with Powder Snow anyways, but Powder Snow is now gonna have you're not gonna have a good matchup against like some of the grass Pokemon, because grass are usually a lot of them are half poison, so the charm is kind of useless there. So if you're going to do that, you need to deal with another Pokemon that can also deal with grass. Again, Gligar, you can use a different one. But A9 Tails, again, we'll have to see how much this new Pokemon is used. I think a lot of people use it at the beginning just to test it out and see how it uses. Obviously, a poison with poison moves and a super bulk is going to be a really tough time for A9. So depends on what you're seeing in your range. I still think A9 is very, very strong in this meta. And speaking about the bulky cores, this was my team bulk either before or after I put in Dragonite. But it's the Lickitung Defense Deoxys core. Again, I really like this core, right? Defense Deoxys' main issues are going to be like Ghost, and Lickitung will resist the Ghost move. And there's also a Dark weakness here, but you can kind of maneuver around it because you do super effective with counters on Dark. and then a Dugong in the back. And Dugong again is one of those interesting safe swaps where it's so bulky enough that even if you get into bad matchups, if you like Icy Wind once or twice, your opponent's like counters or whatever are not doing as much, and you can actually like grab shields or flip switch in a lot of those scenarios. So Dugong is pretty good um, as an all around Pokemon safe swap there. So those are teams. Like I said, I'll probably play. So Electric Cup is on, and then Great League is on right now. I'll probably play Electric Cup at least once or twice. I think the meta is too limited there. I put a top teams out this morning if you want to check that out. I think the meta is too limited, but we'll put out top teams like or teams that I use Saturday and Sunday, and then we'll probably use this new Pokemon Clodsire on for Monday, and then we'll figure out what we're gonna do because we've already hit Legend. So now, let me know in the comments below what league are you playing that you want some try hard teams to try and hit Legend with. I imagine it's probably Great League, but let me know in the comments below for sure. Anyways, that is it. Thanks for watching. See you guys in the next one.